The rope waited for noon, not mercy. Sun burned the square at Dry Needle. Dust hung like a sheet. June Calder stood on a packing crate with a noose under her jaw. A plank sign over the gallows read, "Public Justice." Faces crowded the steps, store clerks, riders, even boys with slings. Judge Abel Crane sat straight in a chair, gloved hands calm, boots polished like church. A bell rope ran to the jail porch. One pull at noon, they said, and the crate would kick free. June's hands were tied in front. She felt the itch of hemp, the tick of sweat, the hot push of July air. She tried to slow her breath and count like her ma taught her when figures would not settle. 4 beats in, hold 4 beats out. Her mind stayed sharp. She looked past the crowd to the alleys, the roofs, the wind. A single shot cracked. The bell rope snapped loose and whipped the porch rail. Heads turned. In that same blink, a knife sang. Steel bit the hang knot. The noose slackened and fell to June's collarbone. A tall rider stepped from the sunwash by the livery. He wore a trail hat and a long duster, dust white on the seams. He did not look at the judge. He looked at June, steady and quiet, as if reading tracks in her face. He led a saddled sorrel to the foot of the crate. His voice was low. 2 roads, pick. June blinked hard. Name? Cole Mercer. He held the reins out to her tied hands. 3 days. Work with me to prove what they are, or ride out free. Your choice. Crane rose. That man is interfering with the court. Cole did not answer. He glanced once at the bell, then at the crowd. Men shifted. The boys fell silent. June felt her steady come back. Choice was a clean thing. Law is a word. Proof is a post. She bent, caught the reins, and stepped off the crate into the saddle. The crowd gasped, and the crate toppled sideways with a bang. Deal on my terms, she said. No killing unless we are cornered. Every move leaves paper behind. Cole's mouth moved into the shape of almost a smile. Good terms, he turned the sorrel. Ride. They rode through heat and shadow as Dry Needle held its breath and counted to 12. Heat fell behind them like a curtain as the town thinned to scrub and wind. Cole kept an easy trot, letting sorrel breathe. June rode bare, wrists bound. Brass tally-tag cold against her palm where the cord looped. She watched his shoulders. They spoke of miles, not swagger. 3 days, she said. Say it plain. He nodded. Judge Crane and the rail agent Crow, they run a side court. Girls go missing after sentencing. There's a rail siding north, not on any public plat. I have pieces. I need a ledger mine to link them. June's mouth went dry. They said I stole his seal. You wouldn't be standing if they could prove it. He glanced at her wrists. You want those cut? After we agree. She kept her chin level. Terms stand, no killing unless cornered. Every move leaves paper proof. Agreed. He drew a small knife and set her free. The ropes fell like shed skin. She rubbed the grooves. You ride out now, I don't follow, he added. I won't own your choice. June looked back. Dry Needle sat like a square nail in the land. I won't leave girls in a boxcar, she said. Show me the pieces. They reached a wind-scoured ridge top where a canvas wall tent hugged the rock. A map table sat under a tarp. Tin cups clinked on a hook. A flag of red cloth marked north. Cole poured water from a stone jug. First piece. He spread a torn freight chit. Script pays to a Sunday school fund. No such fund meets. The code letters match a rail manifest. June read the numbers twice. This group repeats. She tapped a pair of stamped digits. Warrants should all be unique. These double. Second piece, he opened a cigar tin. Inside lay photographs, faint blue. Sunprints. Survey notes. She smiled despite the grit. You can read land and light. I can, but I need someone who can read lies. He pointed to a straight line that curved near the edge. Official map says no siding. This says otherwise. June lifted her brass tag by the cord. My ma used this to check cattle tallies. When numbers lie, the hands twitch. Mine are twitching. She set the tag on the map. I take the deal. 3 days. We prove a case or I ride. Cole exhaled slowly. Then we eat stew and start tonight. Wind combed the ridge all afternoon. Cole set a small fire in a rock ring and swung a pot for stew. June washed dust from her face and studied the map. The land around Dry Needle lay like a hand. 5 arroyos for fingers, a ridge for the thumb. The hidden siding would sit where the thumb met the palm. Rules, Cole said. He set 2 tin bowls down. No killing unless we are cornered. Every move leaves paper proof. We keep our word clean. If one of us falls, the other carries the record to town. June nodded. Add one more. We speak plain even when it stings. Good. He passed her a spoon. Stakes are clear, June. If Crane keeps his false court, girls vanish. If Crow locks the water, the rail takes roots and ranch hands starve. Dry Needle means, then we do not let that happen. Hoofbeats sounded below. Cole lifted a hand. 2 riders came up the trail, hats low. Vaqueros. A boy on foot followed, a school slate tied to his back. The first rider touched his brim. Evening. Name's Mateo. This is my cousin Luis. The well-man posted a notice. Sundown hearing to condemn our water. The boy puffed. I run messages. Folks call me Finch, Cole nodded. June, meet our allies. June shook hands. I'll check your notices and tallies. Mateo handed her a folded page with a red stamp. They took our bucket chain last week. Said it was county property. June read the stamp. The seal ring had a chip at the top edge, a tiny crescent. Her stomach tightened. This mark repeats in the judge's seal. If a copy was cast from a broken original, it would show here. She traced the crescent. Proof hides in small corners. Cole rolled the canvas bundle open. Tools. Twine, chalk, plates for sunprints, and extra pencils. Alma at the telegraph owes me a favor. Finch, can you reach her? The boy nodded. She keeps the key under a flour tin. Don't tell, June smiled. We'll tell nothing we do not write down. She set the brass tag beside the bowls. Tomorrow we go to Alma. We list duplicate numbers. We draw the town as it is, not as it lies. Cole's eyes warmed. Tonight we eat and rest. Ridge will keep watch. They ate in silence as wind sang over stone. Dawn came cold on the ridge. June rolled the map and tucked the brass tag into her pocket. Cole doused the coals. Clouds moved east. Good light for work. They rode into Dry Needle by a side street and tied behind the telegraph. The front door was locked. Finch slipped inside from the alley and lifted the latch. Alma stood at the key with her hair pinned up and her sleeves rolled. She did not flinch at the sight of June. I heard the bell rope snapped, Alma said. You breathing means somebody wants a fight with paper. We want it, June said. We need manifest copies and last month's wire bills. Alma's eyes slid to the window. Crow pulled the office clock. Says we owe him time. She smiled. But the wires remember everything. She tapped a drawer. Bills and copies. Cole set the map on the counter. June laid a blank sheet over town and traced the streets true. The public plot is wrong, she said. The alley behind the feed yard runs farther. That means room for a spur. Alma nodded slowly. I hear a night wagon most Wednesdays, no lanterns. Smells like creosote and fear. Tonight is Wednesday, Cole said. We will watch that alley. June sorted warrants by number. Her finger stopped. Here, duplicate stamp pairs. Same date, same loop. Impossible if honest. She held the page up to the window. The tiny crescent in the seal ring showed against the light. And this flaw repeats. Alma flipped a ledger. Judge sent these to me for wire fees. I kept the carbons. She slid sheets across. If you need proof, sign for it. June wrote her name and the time. Every move leaves paper, she said. Our rule. Cole watched the street through the slit of the blind. We need a clean place to take a picture. The roof, Alma said. Sunprints like a charm up there. They climbed and set plates under the glass. June copied a page of code beside a list of names. She kept her lines neat and her breath steady. Cole chalked a small diagram of the alley and the feed yard gate. After dark, he said. We set a hobble on the gate. When the wagon stops to lift the chain, we lift the canvas. And count what they carry, June said. Then we take it back. Evening pushed the heat into a purple shade. Cole and June waited by the feed yard alley. A tarp rolled under their arms. Finch watched from the roof edge, 3 soft taps the signal. Alma kept the telegraph door cracked so the wire could hear if trouble came. Mateo and Luis led their horses slowly, then veered away to look like men with nowhere to be. Cole touched the gate chain. "Hobble knot," he whispered, and tied a loop you could slip with one tug. June counted heartbeats and watched the corner where the road bent from the rail lot. The brass tag in her pocket felt heavy like a steady palm. A wagon came without a lantern. Wheels clicked in time, too light for grain, too smooth for scrap. It stopped at the gate. A man climbed down and cursed at the chain. As he bent, Cole's hand drew the loop and let the chain fall easily like laundry. The man grunted, pleased with his own work, and waved the team through. June and Cole slid behind the tailboard. Under a canvas lay crates marked tools. The top was loose. June lifted the lid 2 finger widths. Paper smell? She saw stamped lines, names, and months sold. Labor contracts. They matched the seal flaw. Cole's breath barely moved. Take proof, not cargo. June took 1 contract and a list of initials. She slid them inside her coat. The wagon rolled on. Finch tapped twice and then once, the all clear. Cole set the chain back and snugged it like it had never moved. They melted into shadow. At the line camp later, stew steamed in tin cups. June spread the contract on the map table and set a glass plate over it. The sunprint from the afternoon matched the numbers. Alma had wired the same page numbers to the next town. A click echo reply had come back. Received. Small win, Cole said. We know the boxcar cargo. We have a page. Tomorrow we find the siding, June said. She drank stew, salt, and heat, waking her worn bones. Then we take more than a page. Louis set the bread down. We stand if you call, señorita. June smiled. If I call, it will be on paper. Wind worried the tent edge. Cole added a small thing to the table. A short pencil with a metal clip. Gift, he said. Carbide. Won't snap easily. June fixed the clip to her shirt. Then we write clean and straight. Morning came clear as glass. Cole set 2 sticks upright and another across, then stepped back. We will find a sighting the map says is not there, he said. We use angles, not guesses. June took the carbide pencil. Show me. Pick 3 high points you can see from town and here. He pointed. Windmill Vane, Church Cross, Bluff Notch. He marked them, then set the sticks so their shadows met. At noon, shadows tell bearing. We make a triangle. Where lines meet is where a track hides. June measured with a string and wrote the degrees in plain numbers. If the public plat is missing a spur, freight still must turn. A switch needs level ground and a curve that does not bite. She sketched a soft curve around the bluff. Here near the thumb of the land, Cole nodded. We test it. Soon they rode to the flats by mid-morning. June walked on the ground, heels sinking in powder. She listened. In the still air, an iron tick carried from under the grass. She knelt and brushed seed heads. Rust shone like dried blood on a buried spike. Found you, she whispered. Cole crouched. He did not smile. He grunted, pleased. We do not lift it. We leave it covered and mark it with this. He set a pile of 3 stones, then another 10 paces off, same shape. Trail signs. Only we read them. Back at camp, June redrew the town. She corrected the alley, the feed yard, the well yard, and the ridgetop road. She wrote at the margin, Public plat in error. See survey. She pressed the brass tag to the page and traced its circle, a promise of a future seal. Mateo and Luis brought news. Crane posted a new notice, Mateo said. Sundown tomorrow. Our herd forfeits if we do not pay a water fee. June put the notice beside the contract they had taken. They use the same broken ring. Good. We tie their lies to 1 mark. Cole poured 10 cups of coffee. First meal sealed trust. This one seals a plan. He handed June a coil of line. Learn a one-handed hobble. She tried, fumbled, tried again. Cole showed a simple turn. Her fingers found it. Good, he said. Rope holds truth. It either keeps or it fails. June tied the knot with eyes closed. Tonight we scout the siding. Tomorrow we speak in public. Dusk slipped down the ridge like a blanket. Cole checked the cinches and handed June a small canvas satchel. Plates and glass, he said. Keep them dark until moonlight. June tied the strap across her chest. I made a copying frame from the map board. If we find records, I can press a page and take its ghost. Good. He shouldered a coil of rope. We go by the arroyo and come up under the bluff. No horses pass the wash. We leave no prints. They walked the last mile in soft sand. Crickets worked. Far ahead, a low metal hum carried through the night. The hidden siding lay there, tucked under the break in the bluff, shy as a snake. Cole stopped them at a greasewood clump. Count eyes, he breathed. June peered. One lantern hung from a hook near a shed. A second light moved slowly along the rail. A man on patrol. She heard a chain drag and a cough. 2 men, maybe 3. Listen for a pump. He tilted his head. A faint clank answered. There's a handcar. June set the satchel down and took out a pad and her carbide pencil. She drew the shed, the rail bend, and the cut slope by feel. She sketched a square for the lantern, a dotted line for the patrol path. Her line stayed calm, her breath slow. Cole crawled forward on his elbows, disappeared, and came back with a splinter and a number plate rubbing. Switch pin, he whispered. Stamped with crow's mark. June shaded the rubbing into her sketch. If we cut 2 pins later, the rail cannot throw the switch without tools. She swallowed. Only if we must. Paper first, he agreed. He showed a slim pick. Practice the lock. He held out a tin hasp to teach. June worked the pick, missed, tried again, felt the tiny click, and breathed a laugh. Above them, the patrol coughed and spat. A train horn moaned far off, then died. No engine turned in. Night stayed very watchful. They slid back the way they came, stepping in their steps. At the ridge tent, they wrote what they had seen on 2 pages, signed both, and put one in Alma's envelope. Tomorrow, Cole said. We go in quietly and come out with proof. June touched the brass tag. Tomorrow, she said, we make their lies hold still. Night came thin. The moon left a wash on the bluff. Cole and June waited until the patrol's steps faded to the far end of the bend. Then they moved, low and steady, like coyotes that had memorized the rocks. At the shed door, June felt the lock with the pick. The metal spoke in tiny clicks under her fingers. She breathed slowly. The last pin set. The shackle gave. Cole caught it so it would not ring. He raised a brow. She nodded. Paper first inside, creosote stung their noses. A desk stood under a side window darkened with tarred cloth. Ledgers sat in a stack, leather dry. A canvas lay folded on a crate of tools. June propped the copying frame on the desk. She slid the top ledger open to a tight hand, names, dates, work terms. She set a glass plate and the light sheet, then eased the tarred cloth aside a thumb's width. Moonglow caught the page. She counted to 10, covered the plate, and tucked it into the satchel. 1, she whispered. Cole watched the door, rope in hand, a cough outside. Boots scraped. The patrol paused near the window. Cole looped his rope around a beam, ready to trip a man without breaking him. The steps moved on. June worked faster. 2nd plate, 3rd. A 4th for the warrant list with the chipped ring and wax. Cole pointed to a shadow at the back. Safe, he breathed. June found a small box, a lock as thin as a buttonhole. The pick turned and gave. Inside, a seal die and a ring, the chip plain on the rim. She did not take them. She pressed each into a pad of carbon paper and wrapped the impressions flat. Footsteps quickened. A door creaked in the next shed. Cole squeezed her elbow. Ghost hall, he mouthed. He slipped out and slid along the wall. The patrolling man came to the corner. A hand brushed his coat. In a blink, Cole's rope kissed his ankles and gravity did the rest. The man hit sand with a breathless woof. Cole eased him quietly and left him looking at the moon. June closed the ledger, reset the lock, and set the shackle without a sound. They slid away into sage and dark. Back at the ridge, they fixed the plates and wrote what they had done. Proof dried under glass. They reached the ridge before dawn. The glass plates lay like thin ice under the map board, drying slowly. June kept her hands off them, though she wanted to trace every page. Cole brewed coffee in a pot and fed the fire small sticks so the flame stayed low and the smoke ran thin along the stones. They ate bread and beans. Coyotes called once and then gave up. June stared into the coals and let her breath slow to the count her mother taught. She felt the pull of the rope again. The noon square, the crate, the hush before the bell. Her jaw remembered the grit of hemp. Cole set his cup down. "We did not break a thing we could not mend," he said. "Paper first." "You worked clean," June nodded. "I shook, but my numbers stayed straight." She glanced at the plates. "Those girls have names in those lines." "They do." He looked toward town. "Tomorrow we print what we can and give it air." June nodded, listening to the soft tick of cooling plates, each one a small anchor to hold the truth in place. Wind slid along the ridge. June pulled her shawl tighter. "Why you?" she asked. "You could have kept riding." Cole's face stayed in shadow, but his voice opened. "I scouted for the railroad once, marked water, drew easy routes. Then a family lost a roof because my line on paper said their well sat on somebody else's plan. All legal. All wrong. I quit the same day." June turned to Cole with a stick. "My ma kept ranch books. Men signed with pride, then acted like numbers were women's chatter. When storms came, they came to her ledger to find what was true." She touched the brass tally tag in her pocket. She said, "Law is a fence. Truth is the post. If you set the post right, any good fence will meet it." Cole nodded once, slowly. "That line will carry tomorrow." Silence held, warm, not empty. June studied Cole's hands, scarred, steady, careful with flame and rope, and felt her fear cool into a sharper shape. Purpose. He unrolled his bedroll beside the tent flap. "We sleep in shifts. I'll listen first." June lay near the map table. "Wake me when the east pales." "I will." He eased the fire to coals. "We keep proof close. We keep our word clean." Sun bled in the east like a slow match. June woke to pale light on glass plates. The blue ghosts had set. Names and numbers sat clean and sharp. She smiled and began to sort. Contracts, wire bills, warrant lists, seal impressions in carbon. Proof had faces now. Cole poured coffee. "Market day," he said. "More eyes, more ears. More pushback," June said. She set her brass tag on the page. "I will stamp this town straight." They packed the plates in layered cloth, tied the satchel tight, and rode by back lanes. Finch skipped ahead with a hammer and a pocket of tacks. Mateo and Luis led their horses to look harmless. Alma waited at the telegraph with the key and a look that said, "Go Dry Needle Sunday Market" filled the square. Pies steamed. Harness buckles shone. The bell rope hung spliced and new. Judge Crane stood by his chair, coat buttoned, hat tilted. June walked to the board by the well. Her boots felt every plank. She tacked the first sheet high, the second below, the third beside. Seal flaw circled. Duplicate numbers are underlined. A simple map showed the false alley and the curve to the hidden rail. She wrote in big letters at the bottom, "Public record." Cole did not speak. He watched the edges, seeing trouble early. Finch stood ready with more tacks. June raised her voice, clear and even. "These are the numbers you paid. These are the bills you never saw. This ring is broken, and every seal made from it carries the chip. Here are the names of girls sent to work under that chip. Here are the freight marks that match their days." Noise rolled like a slow wind. A team stamped. Someone said, "Read that again." Alma tapped the key, sending page numbers and dates down the wire. Soon the reply bell clicked. "Received by Mud Creek, received by Hawk's Nest." Alma kept the wire open, tapping steadily, face firm. Children climbed barrels to see. Judge Crane stepped forward. "Miss Calder is confused." His smile had thinned. June met his eyes. "Law is a fence. Truth is the post. Today we set the post in public." Cole's hand rested near his rope. He didn't flex. He didn't need to. The crowd did it for him, closing ranks to look and read. Then the town clock struck once. Noon was coming fast. A hush spread like wind stopping at the edge of a canyon. Then came voices, not loud but firm. A mother in an apron pointed at a line. "That's my niece's name." A ranch foreman traced the chipped ring with a thumb. "I paid this fee twice and got threatened besides." Murmur turned to talk. Talk shaped into a simple thing. Anger with a direction. Crane lifted his chin. "These papers are stolen." June kept her voice level. "Copied, not stolen. The originals still sit on your desk and in Crow's shed. The ring impression was pressed on carbon. The wire bills were paid from public funds. I signed for the copies." She held up Alma's receipt. "Every move leaves paper." Alma tapped the key so all the county could hear the words. "Public record, open for reading." Her bell answered with quick clicks from 2 towns. Received. Received. She did not look at Crane. She looked at the board, like it was a fresh-turned grave with the truth finally marked. Mateo stepped forward, hat in hand, voice steady. "Judge, you stamped our well notice with that same broken ring." He set the notice against June's map. "We will not bow to a fake seal." Luis added, soft but clear. "We will stand peaceful, but we will stand." Cole didn't speak. He put his palm against the board so it would not rattle in the breeze. His other hand rested open by his side. Calm told the crowd he'd measured this ground and found it fair. A storekeeper fetched a Bible. "If paper is the fence," he said, "then let us name the post." He looked at June. June swallowed, then placed the brass tally tag flat on the shelf below the board. "This was my mother's checker. It counted cattle when men tried to cheat. Today it stands as an honest seal until a circuit judge comes." She looked at the faces. "I will keep the record. Anyone with a claim can speak it and sign." The schoolboy Finch called names as folks lined up. "Say your piece. State your mark." Hands shook but ink flowed. Alma logged each statement by time and sender, tapping notes across the wire. Crane's mouth tightened. He signaled a deputy. The man jogged off toward the rail lot. Cole watched him go. "Clock starts now," he murmured. June nodded. "Then let the world count with us." The town bell struck twice. Noon sat on the rim. The bell struck the 3rd note and held like a nail in oak. June felt the square lean toward her papers, as if the boards themselves wanted to read. She pointed to the seal copy again. "A true ring is whole. This one has a chip at the north edge. Every wax press repeats the crescent. That is how lies leave tracks." A murmur of yes moved through the crowd. The preacher, coat, dust on cuffs, stepped forward with a ledger. "If the town is to stand, it must stand on record." He set his book open. "I'll swear first." He signed under June's heading, "Public Statements, Witnessed." A thin man in a county vest edged up, face gray. I kept the wire bills," he said. "Crow told me to round up ours. I knew it was wrong." His eyes shone with relief. "I will say it plain." Alma wrote his words, sent them on the wire, and the bell clicked a reply from 2 towns. Cole spoke for the first time. "No one owns this woman's choice," he said, calm. "She stands because she chose to, and we stand with her." He looked at June, then the townsfolk. "Paper, not bullets. Proof, not threats." Crane's smile went tight enough to creak. "This square is not a court," he said. "You have no authority." June kept her hand still. "Authority is a habit. Truth is a fact. Today the habit meets the fact." She lifted the brass tag and set it back down with a light tap, as if ringing a bell of her own. "This will mark each page until a circuit judge comes." A ranch wife raised a hand. "Then mark my page." She named 2 girls sent for service who never wrote again. A blacksmith added his mark about doubling the fees. A schoolteacher spoke about a night wagon with no lantern. Finch called names and stamped times. Alma's key tapped like rain, steady. The stack of signed lines grew. The square held its breath. Then deputies pushed through, 5 of them, hands on clubs. Behind them Silas Crow strode in, a railcoat crisp, hair oiled. He waved at the telegraph office. 2 men entered and shouldered the pendulum clock out. its brass face bright. Crow's voice carried. You want time? I'll sell it to you. Sundown deadline. Surrender for resentencing, or we condemn the vaqueros well and auction their herd. Crow's men set the clock on a crate by the well. The pendulum swung. A deputy chalked numbers on a board. Hours to sundown. He wrote a 7, then a line beneath it as if time could be stacked like lumber. June felt the crowd flinch. She did not step back. She took the chalk and wrote under the numbers, "Public record continues." Then she handed the chalk to Finch. "You keep time for us," she said. "You count the pages, not the minutes," Crow smiled. "You think ink beats iron? Sundown, or the well is seized." Mateo's jaw worked, but he did not lift a fist. "We will not fight your clock," he said. "We will fight your lies." He set his hat on the board and stood beside June. Cole leaned close to June. "We move proof out of easy reach," he said. 2 copies stay in town, 2 go on the wire, 1 rides to Hawk's Nest. "Do it," June said. "Every move leaves paper. Every paper has a twin." Alma stepped from the telegraph door with a tin box. "Receipts," she said. "I kept them. Crow told me to burn them. I didn't." She put them in June's hands. "Make the town see." June sorted fast. "Finch, tack these by the clock. If they carry time, then let time carry truth." The boy hammered them up one by one, marks of tax holding. People leaned in to read. The 7 on the chalkboard seemed smaller now. A boast, not a law. A deputy reached for June's pages. Cole shifted and the crowd shifted with him. Not a push, just a rap. Bodies turned, shoulders set, a human fence. The deputy backed off. Crane lifted his hand. "Enough for today. At sundown you will present yourself." June looked at the rim of sky. "At sundown," she said, "we will present the truth." Cole's eyes tracked a smear on the horizon, thin as smoke. He stored it. They worked the rest of the morning. Alma tapped. Finch logged. Mateo and Luis fetched witnesses. The preacher swore in each signer. June stamped with the brass tag and marked each page with time and place. When the sun tilted, Cole touched June's sleeve. "We make the town ready," he said. "A clock is not our master, and a fire loves tall grass." June nodded. "Then we cut the grass where it matters." Cole pointed to the west. Smoke thickened into a brown wall. Wind pushed hard, hot and dry, like a hand across a match head. June saw riders on the far flats, Crow's men dropping sparks from a pitch bucket and galloping on. The first grass lit and ran. "Fire," Cole said, plain. "They want the town blind and scattered." June turned to the board. "Finch, carry pages to the church and the school. Split the stack. 2 safe places." She looked to Alma. "Keep the wire alive. Wet cloth over the key." Alma nodded, ran inside, and came back with a soaked flour sack. She draped it across the brass key so steam rose as she tapped. "Wildfire. Holding square. Need buckets." Replies clicked. "Water trough ready. Men coming." Mateo and Luis swung up. "Backburn," Mateo said. "We light a line that eats toward the main fire. Wind will carry it out." Cole's eyes measured streets, gaps, and roofs. "Start behind the livery," he said. "Short line, clean ground. No stray sparks." June climbed into a wagon. "Bucket line," she called. From the well to the livery, then to the church. She pointed people, not with panic, but with count and purpose. "You soak blankets. You wet the school roof. You move kerosene out of shade and into the street, lids tight." The preacher rang the handbell. Men and women formed ranks. Barrels tipped. Dippers passed. Children lined up with tin pails. Finch ran, fast and fearless, carrying a sheaf to the church, then back to the school, then again. Cole struck a spark at the dirt edge where Mateo scraped clean earth. The small flame crawled forward, met the running grass, and bit it. Smoke rose in a low roll. Luis walked with a branch, beating stray tongues flat. "Steady," Cole said. "Let it eat only what we mark." Heat hit the square. Ash fell like gray snow. A roof edge licked orange, and June shouted it down. 2 women lifted a ladder. A boy climbed and poured. The flame hissed and died. Alma tapped through wet cloth. Clock still here, truth posted, holding. June felt a fierce pride. Law's a fence, she thought, and we are setting posts all over this town. Wind shifted, then eased. The backburn line met the main fire and dropped to coals. Smoke thinned. People coughed, spat, then smiled through ash. Cole scanned the ridge. They will ride in on the smoke's back, he said. We set the next trap before they think to look. June wiped her face black and white. Then let's make ready. They moved fast while the smoke still blurred edges. Cole led June to the windmill corral north of town. A circle of fence with a pump house and 2 heavy gates hung on a chain and winch. The pump wheel creaked slowly in the hot wind. This is our pocket, Cole said. He ran a hand along the hinge. 2 gates. 1 bait. June checked the winch handle, counted the teeth, and tested the catch. If I crank here, the far gate swings shut first, she said. Then this one slams after. A pin the size of truth. Good. Cole tied lines from each gate to a buried pulley and back to the handle. You keep the handle. No one gets crushed. Finch joined them, eyes bright above ash stripes. Posse coming, he panted. 10 riders, maybe 12. Crane at front. Right on time, Cole said. He scattered fresh water on the corral dust so tracks would read like ink. Then he dragged a feed sack just inside the far gate. Bait. Mateo and Luis took posts on the rise with empty rifles, scare sticks only. Alma stood by the telegraph door, soaking the cloth again, wire ticking. Posse near windmill, witnesses safe. Hoofbeats swelled. Crane's posse burst through the thinning smoke like nails shaken from a box. Crane saw Cole and pointed. Seize them! Cole trotted slowly toward the open gate and let his horse shy through. He looked back once, a quiet dare. The first riders followed, eager to cut off escape. 2, then 4, then 6 crowded inside. June braced at the winch. Now, she hissed. Wait for Crane, Cole said, voice calm. He angled his horse tight in the circle. Crane spurred in, lips pale, eyes sharp on the rope coil at Cole's saddle. June snapped the catch and cranked hard. The far gate boomed shut with a heavy kiss. The last 2 riders checked up too late. Their mounts slid and balked, pushing them inward. Cole slipped off and lifted his hands, empty, while June threw the second lever. The near gate slammed, chain biting home. The corral held a dozen men and 12 hot horses. Dust boiled, then settled. Cole's rope stayed on his saddle horn. No killing, he said, steady. You are only penned to listen. Crane glared through the rails. This is unlawful. June walked to the pump post. From her satchel, she drew a small wooden box. The seal box she had carbon copied last night and nailed it open to the post with 2 clean hits. Inside lay the chipped ring and the die impression on paper. She hammered once more so the lid would not hide the lie. Law's a fence, she said, loud enough for the square to hear. Here is the post. Crowd voices rose around the corral, not vicious, just sure. Cole met June's eye and nodded toward the north flats. Beyond the smoke, a rail whistle whispered like a snake. Crow would run for the siding with what he could carry. June set her palm on the winch. Hold them. I'll cut his tracks. Go, Cole said. I'll keep the pen tight. She ran lightly, ash puffing at each step toward the rail. Smoke lay in bands across the flats as June ran for the rail. She followed low ground, using wind-cut ruts to hide her shape. The cairns she and Cole had set, 2 heaps of 3 stones, guided her. A rail whistle peeped again, hurried. Crow was close. She reached the cut under the bluff and dropped to a knee. At the shed, 2 guards hauled crates to a handcar. Crow stood at the lever, coat open, hair damp. 4 girls sat on a plank bench, wrists looped with a strap. Their eyes were round and dry, the way eyes look when crying is done. June checked the ground. 20 paces short of the tunnel, a drift of sand lay against the ties. The switch sat back where she and Cole had rubbed a number from the pin. She breathed once. The paper first brought them here. Now rope and iron would finish what paper began. She slid to the switch. The cotter pins glinted thin. She pulled one with the tip of her knife, then twisted the second until it squealed and came free. The points floated. She wedged a pebble to hold them half open. Wheels would climb instead of track. A guard turned. June flattened, then rose and walked out like she belonged. "Crow," she called. "The line is clear," he squinted. "You again," he shoved a crate aboard. "We're leaving." June stepped near the handcar and let her hand brush the brake shoe. She tossed a pinch of sand on the rail, casual as flour, then moved back. Crow pumped. The car bumped forward, heavy. "Faster," he hissed. The girls clung to the plank. At the half-held points, the near wheel kissed air, climbed, and slid into the sand. The handcar lurched off the iron with a wooden groan, skidded sideways, and stopped short of the tunnel mouth. No scream, only a chorus of shocked breaths. June was already there. She lifted the brake with one hand and set her rope with the other. A flat loop over the lever. "Nobody move," she said low. "We are done choosing for these girls." A guard reached. She snapped a one-handed hobble on his wrists and pushed him down. He stayed down. Crow tore at a satchel. June plucked it away. Inside lay ledgers, a seal list, and script clipped with pins. Proof with teeth. "Up," she told the girls. "You're going home." June walked the girls back along the track, slow and careful, away from the half-open switch. They held each other's sleeves like ship ropes. Crow stumbled ahead with wrists looped by the same hobble he meant for others. His nice coat dragged in the sand. The guard shuffled behind, quiet now. At the windmill corral the town had gathered. The smoke had thinned. Children sat on fence rails, eyes bright. Cole stood by the winch with one palm on the handle. The penned riders breathed hard and looked smaller than their horses. June lifted her voice. "No more private justice," she said. "No more sealed rooms. We stand in daylight or we don't stand at all." Cole's gaze found hers. He nodded once and stepped back half a pace, leaving air for her words. "Her lead," he said to the crowd. "Her proof. We back it." Alma came from the telegraph with a dry cloth and a damp one over her shoulder. "Wire is open," she said. "Hawk's Nest and Mud Creek will take sworn lines by key if you speak them plain." The preacher held up his ledger. "Then let us make a board of record, citizens, not bought men." He looked at June. "Recorder." June felt the town waiting. She set the brass tally tag on the pump post beside the nailed seal box and faced the people. "I will keep the record," she said. "We will have a jury of 12 drawn by lot from those not named in any paper. We will take statements here and by wire. We will list every fee, every warrant, every stamp with that broken ring, and when the circuit judge rides in, he will read what we wrote." Mateo stepped out and raised his right hand. "I will serve," he said. Others followed, ranch wife, blacksmith, teacher, freighter, cook, clerk, 12 in all. Finch pulled numbers from a hat to keep it fair. Alma tapped the key. "Citizen jury sworn, records board open." Replies clicked. "Received. Standing with you." June turned to Crow. "You will speak the names of all girls sent out under your orders. We will write them. Then you will sit in the pump house with water and shade until the circuit judge comes." Crow tried a smile. It slid off his face. "You don't scare me." "I'm not here to scare you," June said. "I'm here to count." Cole eased the winch and opened the near gate a hand's width. Deputies stepped in, disarmed the penned men, and led them out one by one to stand before the board. No fists, no shouting, only pages and time. "Dry needle," June called. "Say your piece and sign." Afternoon slid into a quiet kind of light. Smoke thinned to blue threads over the ridge. People moved without shouting now. Buckets went back to hooks. Brooms found doorways. Someone laughed, tired and free. June set a table under the pump post. She stacked clean paper and the ledger the preacher had loaned. The brass tally tag lay on top like a small sun. Cole leaned the nailed seal box higher so all could see the break. "Leave it there," June said. "Let it teach." The forged court shut its door before evening. The county man hung the key on a nail and wrote "Closed by public record" on a scrap. Alma copied the line and sent it by wire. Replies came fast and warm. Mud Creek offered a spare clock. Hawk's Nest offered paint. Mateo and Luis walked to their well with a crowd behind. June carried the notice Crane had stamped and pinned beside a new sheet. Water open to all brands by town board. She added times, signatures, and the words witnessed by wire. Men raised hats. Women set cups to catch the first cold rise. Laughter turned bright. At the rail bend, townsfolk pried boards, scrubbed tar from windows, and rolled the handcar under shade. The shed lost its secret look. A freighter traced a chalk line on the floor. Here, he said, we weigh honest cargo. 3 girls from the bench sat in the doorway with Alma, sipping sweet tea and learning the click of the key. Finch brought them biscuits and painted their names on a clean board. By sundown, the siding had a new name. Someone nailed a plank over the door. Co-op Depot. Cole grinned at that without showing teeth. A good word, he said. June crossed to the old jail. Its door hung crooked. She sanded the plank smooth while Finch mixed paint from Hawk's Nest. He brushed carefully while the children watched. Public docket, the board said when it dried. June tacked a copy of the day's pages under it and added a blank sheet with lines waiting. Quiet spread. The windmill turned slowly and surely. Horses blew and settled. Folks went home in pairs and small groups, leaving the square neat. Cole tied his bedroll to a porch post. Town breathes easier, he said. It does, June answered. Tomorrow we stamp our first true page. We start at sunup, the sun rose clean. June set a chair under the public docket sign and opened the preacher's ledger. Alma brought receipts and a small ink pad. The brass tally tag lay beside the pen. It flashed when the windmill turned. First true page, June said. No bell, no judge, just daylight and ink. People gathered without fuss. Mateo and Luis came with their families and a long rope for the well bucket. Finch stood ready with the hammer. The rescued girls held elbows, faces softer now, cups warming hands. June wrote slowly and straight. Dry needle record. Open day 1. She listed the jury, the board, and the water order. She added each signer. Then she lifted the brass tag and pressed its round face to the ink pad. Not hard, just sure. She set that mark at the bottom, a clean ring without a chip. It is, June said. A fence starts with one good post. Truth likes witnesses, and we had plenty. She blew the page dry and tacked a copy on the board. All saw Cole walked from the corral, rope looped neatly, eyes quiet. He looked at the names, then at June. It holds, he said. You said it true. A ranch foreman asked, Recorder, what about fees? June pointed to a new sheet. Fees posted at week's end, everyone. No closed room. If a man pays, he sees the ledger that day. A baker lifted a pie. Then welcome your first payment, she said, laughing. 2 pies to the records board. Alma wrote the gift and Finch rang the handbell proud. By noon, the square looked different for good. Swept steps, tools coiled, faces level. The pulled-down court sign had a new job. It mended a schoolhouse stair. Cole tied his bedroll to a porch post and sawed the rope short so knots would not catch. June watched, amused. You staking a claim? He shook his head. I ride when I'm called, he said. But I stand here when I'm needed. June felt the word settle like water finding its level. Then stand, she said simply. They ate stew at a plank table, June, Cole, Alma, Mateo, Luis, Finch, the girls, the preacher, speaking easily. When quiet fell, June laid her palm on the ledger's cover and made a vow in her heart. I will keep this town counted come dust or rain. The windmill clicked. Dry Needle listened. Afternoon thinned to gold and the square grew quiet. June stood by the public docket with the preacher's ledger open and the brass tally tag warm in her palm. She looked at the faces she had learned. Alma at the wire, Finch with his hammer, Mateo and Luis by the well. The rescued girls laughing softly. Cole leaned on a porch post, hat tipped back, reading the sky like other men read bills. I choose to stay, June said. She spoke it plainly so the words would not grow. I am the recorder of Dry Needle. I will keep the book in daylight. I will sign what is true and refuse what is crooked. If danger comes, we meet it together, and every step leaves paper. Alma smiled and tapped a single word on the key. Amen. June set the brass tag onto a fresh page and pressed a round, clean mark. First honest seal, she said. There will be more. Cole tied his bedroll to the porch post with a short hitch, neat as a period. I ride when I'm called, he said. But I stand here when I'm needed. Weeks turned. The co-op painted its door. The school put out 2 new benches. The well rope got a new splice. Men cursed less and listened more. Alma taught the rescued girls the wire, and their first message went to their kin. Safe, working, come when ready. The forged court never opened again. Its wood fixed the school steps and a hole in the church porch. Months later, a circuit judge rode in with a deputy wagon. He read the docket page by page, then looked long at the chipped ring nailed to the pump post. Crane left in irons, eyes small. Crow took a shovel and joined a chain gang on the road cut. No cheers, just the steady sound of work being set right. Cattle taxes were posted plainly each week, and any man could check the sums. Names of hired hands were read at the schoolhouse. Letters found their way home. That night the windmill turned and clicked like a clock that belonged to the town. June closed the ledger and laid it under her arm. She felt no grandness, only a good weight, firm and known. Legend became history today, the preacher said. June touched the porch post where Cole's rope sat. No, she said, smiling. History became home. If this story gave you a calm heart, tap like. Subscribe for more clean Western romances, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next tale. Share this with a friend who loves hope and home.